What's good, guys? It's your boy CS. Let's take a look at the markets because a lot has happened in the past day or two. Now, from my perspective, I always thought there was going to be some type of a retrace because when you have a movement from 52k to 66k, there normally is a retracement and it's a healthy correction in the market, and where demand and buyers tend to come back into the market. So from around 52 to 66, that's God, my maths eludes me at the moment. It's like 14k. So if we deducted 7k, it would have come down to around the 59k mark. And so that's usually a healthy 50% correction. However, we can't negate the fact of what's going on in the open markets regarding Iran firing missiles at Israel, and obviously prior to that, Israel doing what they're doing in Lebanon, and obviously it's very distressing for a lot of people. But in terms of markets, what we're looking at and fixating on, could this eventually nuke us down further? And that's kind of where we need to look at, because everyone is still bullish at the moment, and that's good. I'm still going to be a perma bull, and global liquidity, like I keep saying to you, is getting pumped into the markets. However, we also need to know what is going on outside, such as Israel coming out with a statement that yes, they are going to retaliate, etc., etc. So this could kick off a bigger war or battle, let's say. So let's look at the first chart. And for those who don't know, this is my favorite chart, my spider line chart with a number of different colors. They're basically historic support and resistance zones that have always been conformed to, as you can see here, like always conformed to here. So, and here, as you can see, and even now we're getting a hit off this particular spider line. So yesterday we closed underneath it, and today we try to get above it, but really we've actually come below it, which is not really a good sign for Bitcoin. However, the daily candle close obviously has another 13 hours and 46 minutes to go from the time of this recording. So we've still got a bit of time on that. The one thing I always kept saying to you was, and this is where I expected we'd get a bounce off this 20 EMA and then go again. But we would have had a wick down and then we would have gone. But because of the news event, that's kind of ruined the bullish scenario as far as I'm concerned. And that's why I'm trying to take a step back and stay sidelined for now. And as you know, I always do this. I always end up shorting at the top, like I kept doing. I'm shorting up here. As I kept saying, everyone gets greedy, so I'm going to short. And then around here, I exit my short. And, you know, this could be it could be a longer short. I don't know for now. But on the daily EMAs, we crash through the 20, the 100 and the 15 on one gulp. One gulp, we've smashed through all of them. And then today, we need to somewhat get above these two EMA trend lines to ensure that the trend is still our friend, right? On the weekly, it's crashed right into the 20 EMA and actually holding right now. And remember, it's a long week ahead. It doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, we're going to go lower. It depends what happens, because actually from a market perspective, so much money is being printed in the background for liquidity into markets. Like I said, the money printers are on. So there is a good chance that the markets will recover very, very quickly. And so I am still bullish, but in terms of the news event, we do also need to be aware that any little tip-off can nuke the chart again. And like we saw yesterday, that's what was the occurrence. So we've seen the spider line chart. Another chart that does a historic support and resistance zone is this pink one, which dates back to 2022, as you can see. See how all the wicks touch the top gap on the weekly. And then here, it comes in and out, and it cannot either stays in or it stays out type of thing. And yeah, it always bounces off. So By the end of this week, if we ended up above the 62,236 region, I think that's bullish in my opinion. That's very, very bullish if we stay above this, because we cracked open the past 2 weeks above it. And you could just say it's another black swan event or whatever, but really it's just a retrace in my opinion. And if we go into some other charts, the descending broadening wedge pattern, now I guarantee you bears will be screaming, haha, we told you so. Lower low, lower high, lower low. Technically, it is lower high. And actually, there's still no invalidation on that. What they've said is totally correct. It is still a lower high. So if you were a bear, your sentiment is actually correct. It is a lower high right now. Obviously, we need to see where this weekly candle closes, but that's what they would say. Obviously, on the contrary, if you're a bull, you'd say higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, wherever this could come all the way down here for all we care. But if it posts it here and then retraces, that's at the end of the day a higher low. Now, Bitcoin is struggling, and I've got all the point of control zones, as you can see here, mapped out. So we fell through our key one, which was here, and then we fell through our biggest one. This is the point of control that we've been holding for like a week. We did really well to hold it, and we broke through eventually. And then now we've got two big red dildo candles that have brought us not even back down to this yellow point of control, but this point of control. So now we're in this zone between 61859 and 6801. See that, how we're in this point of control? And if we zoom in here, that's how it looks. So actually in the smaller time frames, we're getting a really big rejection from the top resistance band, which is not a good sign for Bitcoin. On the hourly, same thing. It looks like a dead cat bounce in a way. Now we could come back up here. Don't get me wrong. We could come back up here. We could fizzle around here, even fizzle around here, and then we could go down a leg lower. That will be the bearish sentiment anyway. So just something to watch out for on the longer, on the smaller time frame and the longer time frame. Now, if we go on to this chart, I actually deleted the trend line, but as you would have seen, I had this falling wedge pattern, right? A lot of you had seen it because I kept going on about like, be careful, looks like we're coming out of this pattern. It was something along the lines of that, right? So we came out of this pattern. Oh, well, you can see what I'm on about anyway. You came out of this rising wedge pattern, and to be honest, we could come all the way down, excuse me, and test this resistance zone at 58. And if we get a bounce off that, this area is a pure demand zone now. This is a huge demand zone. I don't know if there's any EMA ribbons. No, there's not. I think there might be another weekly maybe. No, the 50 is still all the way down there. Regardless, this point of control zone, if you look how we have continuously been in it only for a little bit of time, and then we get ourselves out. Same thing here when we had that August dump. We got ourselves out of that zone. Same thing here, got ourselves out of that zone. That's really important, because if we do have a little clip, that could be the bottom if you're a bullish person. If you have a bullish sentiment, that could very much be the bottom. Very, very much be the bottom of this whole situation. Again, it does depend on what the news tells us in terms of what Israel and Iran are doing, because the narrative is there. And we'll come and look at the SPX in just a moment. But as I kept saying to you guys, if you had seen what I said to you, we're in this channel in the tether dominance. This is a massive, massive, and excuse all the noise, but if we just focus on this level here at 5.31%, 5.32%, this is a massive weekly resistance zone for Bitcoin. Remember, the tether dominance is inversely correlated to the Bitcoin chart. So when this goes up, Bitcoin goes down, and when this goes down, Bitcoin goes up, right? So now this is going up because it's found support. Bitcoin has now gone down. And actually, we're crashing through the 5.62% region, which is another massive weekly, and we've just had a little bounce off it. And so for me, that's really negative. We need to close above the 5.62% today. We have to, because that is really, really negative for crypto and alts ultimately. And so if the tether dominance does go higher, we could potentially see, and I don't know if this is good or bad at this moment, we could potentially see us come back to that 6.18, and that would definitely send us very, very much further down to like, I'd probably say 50K levels. Now, I don't want to be thinking about that, but that is a possibility. And even if we look on the daily EMAs, it's now just retested everything. It's just bouncing off everything, off the EMAs. It's got a bit of a rejection off the top band, which is good for us. But right now, that looks very bearish for the crypto charts. And we have to be very, very careful, because if this does go higher, remember those circles that I scribbled from way back when? See here and here? These are levels like we really don't want to see, but you know, anything is possible. Remember, don't write everything off. Ultimately, though, I'm still bullish. I don't want people to shy away from the fact, but I always give the bearish stance as well, because if this does go lower, I do think it is a good time to long. In my opinion, I'll be looking for longs around here, even if it's like a defending long. So we get a bounce, and then if it comes back up and then dead cat bounces, at least I've, can take some profits along the way. And then if it comes back and retests and smashes down, then yeah, Bitcoin is in trouble. But we'll actually be in a good place where we know where the zones are. And that's the thing. If you know where the zones are and where to long, then you're actually in good hands, because it conforms to where Bitcoin should be going. And as you can see, I'll come on to altcoins in just a second, where you see this support trend line here, how it's bouncing. So Bitcoin could, in theory, come and bounce off here if it did get another nuke. I'm just saying that if that happened, this is a massive support zone. We've continually used it as support. So if I go into another chart, I was showing you a few, like, see, Floki has this blue one, this blue line. It could come and retest there and find it as support, right? It could come down here and find it as support. There's many, many different coins that have the same thing. Like, look at MOG. MOG has a very similar one. It could come down here and test the support. That'd be fantastic buy entries, like generational buy entries. Moo is my favorite one, because I gave this at like 20 odd million market cap down here. And I kept saying, guys, when support trend lines like this get a massive bounce, these are buying opportunities. And same here, as you can see, you've got like crossing limits. So if Moo comes down here, I'm definitely thinking of buying a lot around this region, because look, it's already tested like once, twice, 3, 4, 5. I'll even zoom in. See that? It bounces off it and then finds its way up. It climbs above. And so these are historic support and resistance zones that you guys can look at. And I'm sure there'll be one on Ponky if I drew one like going from like that to that. I'm sure there is one like round here. Same with, I think with Brett is the only outlier, because Brett actually has hit its top one already. And it's got a bit of a bounce, to be fair. Brett has bounced yesterday off the white one. But there is this green one as well down here. And yeah, those alerts are still on down here from way back when. So if Brett did come down here and creeps down here, then you know what to do. These are buy limit areas. So that's where we're at the moment with Bitcoin and alts. But really, the thing that we need to concentrate on is what's going on with the US markets and the major markets. So like the Nikkei, the Dow, etc. So the Nikkei looks like it's getting a bit of a paste in. So today doesn't look so good right now. It is finding support though around these levels, which is good. The Dow looks like it's getting a bit of a pasting as well, just from looking at the chart right now. I can't really tell you. It could, go to a green candle like that one there, right? I don't know what can happen, but what's going on, I think it will take out a lot of longs and bulls. So if you're longing, do be very wary, because I know you want the market to overturn and you don't want to miss out and stuff, but also it's a great way to flush out people that want to get in, because October generally is a really good month. And so it's an easy way to flush out people at the start of the month. And yeah, we're not even near the daily 20 EMA. I'd be looking at this as support on the SPX and the S&P. And then I'd be thinking, I could probably get in here. And if we look at the weekly, yeah, it's like a bearish engulfing candle. Well, it could be very soon. So yeah, this could knock down. There's also one other thing I wanted to show you guys, which is when looking at charts, always look at the higher time frame, right? And note that every single month, you see these wicks. So this is the hollow body of the candle, the actual solid color. But the wicks are these little wires that go down, right? See these wires? Since March, we've always tested the 61K region in the monthly chart, right? In May, June, July, August and September, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, we've always, or nearly always, tested the 58K region of the point of control. And so on the monthly, we've only tested this one. And so I'd be waiting just to see if Bitcoin can come down here and test the 57K or 58K region. You know, even if it got a wick down here to 54, like just a wick down, that would be great, because you're basically buying, I think, in my opinion, from what I can see in the market, obviously if nothing else further escalates, this would be the greatest buying opportunity if it came down here. But if you see the monthly candles, the ones that start off really bad, like September, for instance, and even August, remember August the 5th, we came down here. Look how much we retraced. If you bought on August the 5th, you bought from 49K and you ended up at 58K. Same with September at the start of the month on the 5th as well. Came down to 52, everyone's panicking. And we actually ended up green. We ended up green on this month. And that's why I keep saying to you, at the start of the month when a candle is red, that usually indicates that after the first week or so, though that is it, all the murder is done. The murder is done. All the blood is done. Now it's time to buy. And so that's the way that I look at these candles, these candlesticks. Ultimately, if they go down at the start of the month, I'm happy. And I want them to get nuked at the start of the month, because I know there's further upside that will come ultimately. So guys, that's a whistle stop tour. I think to end with the markets itself is, you know, some alts are coming out to play. Some of them are just, like bobbing and weaving, not really doing too much, which is understandable as well. I would just say, just be careful. If you're going to long with, not a lot of equity at this point, like I wouldn't even DCA in. I'd just have a position and a stop loss. I wouldn't really bother at this point, because, yeah, we're at 61K. If this is a dead cat bounce, and if I go in my horizontal chart, remember the horizontal chart, when we have dead cat bounces, they come up like that. Come up and then they come up like that, right? So if we come down like that, this would be a buy area, which I'd be looking at. 100% be looking at. Even if you wanted to buy in this area, you could just see what the strength Bitcoin has, and obviously where the US markets are and stuff like that, because they are definitely correlated with one another. And and see how much strength they have. Like, even on this 1 hourly candle right now, it's showing good strength, actually, showing very, very good strength. We've got another half an hour to go. You know, if this came up like that, that would be very positive. But also, we have to be aware that a lot of shorts are probably thinking, all right, we're just trapping them in. We're just trapping them in. Let them come, let them fizzle in. Something like this, basically. Something like this, like zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. Let them come in, then boop. Let's just kill them off, right? Because it builds momentum for the bulls, and everyone gets excited, and retail gets excited. We're going to the moon, and then bang, the shorts come in, 100x leverage you, and then you're done, you're dead, type of thing. So, yeah, that's where we're at. Like I said, I'm actually happy that the nuke is taking place at the start of the month, because I think genuinely, I think by the end of this month we will be green. I think we will be green, or we'll be near where we were. I don't think we are going to be down here by a red candle close. I really don't, just because of the money printers and the amount of money going on. Obviously, there'll have to be some type of de-escalation going on in the world, but really, this is the bull cycle. This is what happens. And I can't remember what was going on 4 years ago, but I'm sure there would have been some very similar war, or there's always wars going on around the world, regardless, at any time period from the existence of time. And I've said this on a previous video, and I won't go into too much psychology, but there's been markets that have thrived even through World War I and World War II. Like, the markets are older than us. Like, unless you're 100 odd and you're listening to my YouTube video, which I very much doubt you are, you're not going to have outperformed the market, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, this is where we're at. We'll see what happens. If Bitcoin does show some promise today, and it is just a engulfing candle, like if it can actually fizzle out and get out at this point of control real quick, that will be positive. If it does, what you could look for is something like this, like it goes up here, bounces out, gets a retest, and then we go type of thing. You got to remember, when there's not a lot of volume coming in and the markets are down, it's not usually a very good sign. But right now, good candles on the lower time frame. We'll see what happens if shorts and the bears step in here, because they did there and they did there. And yeah, we'll await to see. All right, guys.